unconscious elements of instinct. Optic thalamus is the supreme center for instinctive reactions, many varieties, and then different kinds of instinct, because we've not got a lot of time. Here we go. And then making a distinguishing between instinct and habit. It is mixed up with unconscious reflex and with conscious emotion. But we need to know nothing about the mental. Again, it's all complex. It's all very like intertwined and nuanced and stuff. And we're up against the hard limit and instinctive behavior. Okay, extra stuff there. Wait, where's the bit that I wanted to show before? I wanted to concentrate on. Yes. So when you talked about the thalamus, I've got this to show you. This is from a proper. No, this is from what looks like a simple book, but it's written by a proper cognitive psychologist, Angus Gellatley. He's Scottish. He's in a Scottish. It'd be great to get him into an event with Dario, because he edited this book, this big cog-sci book for the Open University. Yeah, Angus Gellatley, and so he did that book in about the late 90s. But I think this is fascinating. The idea that somebody who is cut off from their emotions has a very hard time making decisions. Fascinating. Is that? I'll just read that. The limbic system has strong connections with the frontal lobes. When these connections are damaged, people may show surprising little intellectual impairment, yet their personal, social, and professional lives fall apart. The problem lies in their decision making. Faced with a problem requiring a decision, they analyze and evaluate all the alternatives. You also could argue they get a bit ENTP-ish, yeah? There's all the at excessive length, and they finally make their choice for irrelevant reasons. Take the example of a patient asked on which date to see his doctor. So you might think, Ben, this looks like an NTP. Do you prefer this Friday or the next? Well, that depends. But then again, I might be busy, and then like Friday ones I happen to. Of course, it would be easier if I was in town this Friday, but I suppose it's snowing again. I won't know. And it's like because they've not got the feeling there. And then we got here. They can talk rationally, distinguish what is socially acceptable or not, but they often do not seem to feel their own emotional assessments at a core level. They might even remark that although they know what they should be feeling, they do not consciously have the feelings.
Well, it says gut level, not core level. It's not. Is this really about emotions, or is it about instincts? Which is a bit.
I think this is about like limbic emotions. I think this is like as Van der Hoop, and like I said, this is a little bit of a correlate to why Van der Hoop would say emotions are separate from feelings, and feelings are a lot more complicated. So, for example, he distinguishes between anger and indignation. And he gives the example that you could bump into someone, have an initial reaction of anger, but you might see it's an elderly person or a small child, and that sort of like colors the feelings that you have about it. And so he thinks that if you've got he thinks that a hallmark of feeling is a mixture of emotions. And maybe this is like the structure of the brain, where we've got this older part of the brain that's like the dog, and you've got like these like the emotions that a dog has, and then you've got these higher feelings in the brain, like sort of attached to like values and ethics and right and wrong, and that's very different from like your core emotions. And so here's an example. And so remember, Dibley said he thought that instinct was in the thalamus. He said the seat of instinct was the optic thalamus. And here we have the human forebrain contains a large number of important structures. The thalamus is a kind of communication center which receives input, sensory, eyes, ears, skin, and other sense organs. It also modulates activity in the cortex as a whole. The hypothalamus is a small but very, and then the 4 Fs. So right there is saying that you've got your emotion and your sensory input goes to the thalamus first.
Feeling, fighting, fleeing, and what?
And fornication. He cleaned it up. I like how they put. Hey, I think it's clever what he's done there. He changed flight to fleeing, because not all animals have wings.
Okay.
because they used to say fight or flight, didn't they?
Flight still sounds better.
Yeah, but fleeing. Yeah, but you know, I don't see many deer flying.
Oh, they would have had Red Bull.
Right, maybe. It gives you wings. Very good. Good joke there, Jonathan.
Yeah.
And then limbic system, and then there's another bit, and then a little bit of evidence for all of this. Here we go. Again, there's stuff in the book. The stuff with rats. We've not got a lot of time for that, but we can say stuff here. Information from the eyes and ears travels first to the thalamus. Instinct. I've got instinct underlined in orange. And from there to the visual and auditory areas of the cortex. It used to be thought that sights and sounds were first experienced and then recognized in these cortical areas. Information about what had been recognized was then supposedly sent to the limbic system for an emotional reaction. It has been discovered, however, that in addition to this indirect route, thalamus, cortex, amygdala, there is a direct route from the thalamus to the amygdala. In other words, the amygdala, part of the limbic system, responds emotionally to objects in the world even before the cortex has experienced and recognized them. That's the part of that instinctive reaction where you can make those split-second reactions to things. I've got 2 little slides left, and then I've got to go, and then we've got to go. So what is it? That one, not that one, that one, that one. Is it that one? It's this one. That's it. Right, then, here we go. So, I'll read through this for the folks. Because I had begun to regard emotion as an expression of instinct, I was no longer able to accept Jung's formulation of the function of perception. Emotional reactions are immediately bound up with their sensations. So-called feeling tone, together with reactions of liking and disliking, thus form, with sensation, a psychological entity that amuses Jonathan. In studying their mode of adaptation, when he looked at SE-DOMs, in studying their mode of adaptation, I saw, in fact, more and more clearly that they were not guided exclusively by their sensations, but by their sensations coupled with their emotional reactions thereto, and further, by their instinctual needs as well. It seems, therefore, incorrect to me to regard sensation as the only characteristic factor in this function. Adaptation is here governed by emphases in regard to emotion and attention in the field of sensations, and that action is also directed by details of a concrete kind. So we could say that instinct is related to the concrete and intuition is related to the abstract. Right, so, and because then that makes it match up better with Kersey, because you've got an artisan instinct, sensation, stimulation, audacity, impulse, and then you've got guardian instinct, authority, belonging, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, security, the guardian instinct. And then, oh, that's not right, there's one more, we got to go, it's that one, this is the last one. Right, and then he gives the other features of it. The intuitive experience, there is spontaneous insight into relation to a certain group of facts, as a result of which they assume an added significance. This is something quite different from the practical instinctive knowledge which results from emphasis and sensation. We now see the sphere of conscious instinctual experience as a mode of conscious orientation, covering various items which nevertheless appear to us, coupled with our emotional and behavioral reactions thereto, as part of a single experience, bringing with it a practical form of knowledge, inseparable from the sensations involved. And the next sentence is probably how INTPMI. Emotional reactions.
Yeah, a sentence will tell you how INTP you are.
I think that sentence, I mean, it's very like configured. And then emotional reactions to sensation are frequently accompanied by an impulse to act. Again, this is like the instinct in artisans and guardians, especially artisans. In our conscious mind, this may assume various forms, e.g., that of a vague inclination to do something or a strong impulsive drive towards certain acts, artisans. Or they may arise a certain mode of behavior determined more or less by habit, guardians. And then the know-how part. There's a certain kind of, and I think by him reframing sensing as instinct, and I call instincting, is that he adds these extra features to it, these extra capabilities that puts it on the same level as intuition. And so it's a special kind of know-how. It is impossible to say that this form of knowledge is chaotic. It is controlled by fixed associations of sensation and action. The original instinctual interest lent into things their primary meaning has led to further experiences, and as a result of which fresh emphases in the field of sensation have provided a secondary meaning and these points attracting special attention are linked up by associated together. So this is probably why sensing types have got good kinesthetic intelligence and like split-second decisions in sports, where it's like literally like a third of a second having the right reaction to things. What amused you there, Jonathan, about split second?
Oh, nothing. No.
Right then.
Right.
Well, I finished, so so what do you think then, Joyce, of this? Any shower?
Yeah, it was amazing. I love Model V. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I love Jonathan's Effie where he can't hide his reaction on his face, and it's just like.
Oh yes, yes.